We first started talking about what we might talk about here in this conference, and I think it's very important that we talk about this beginning with the end in mind. So you're going to probably learn a little bit more about planned giving today, and I hope that you take away some things today. I am not a theologian, I'm just a dad of six. I've just learned a few things along the way. I've learned a few things after almost 30-year career in fundraising and development. I just last week, I completed my, hard to believe, 23rd year with the Diocese of Austin. So 23 years in one place. It's like nobody does that anymore, I don't think. But glad to do it and happy to be there. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful place to work and a wonderful place to be, Austin, Texas. I want to start off with a quote. I love this. You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. And I think this is something that inspires me in the work that I do and the work that maybe that you might do as well, is that thinking about a problem or maybe working toward that, it's one thing, but we can't build a reputation on something that we are going to do. I also like to talk about this quite a bit in the work that I do because I'm a bit of an OG Catholic fundraiser. I started way back when, almost 30 years ago in the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. And one of the first things that I did was attend the IU School of Philanthropy. So it was an opportunity for me to kind of get that baseline or upskill the work that I was doing. And then also I was handed the book, The Bishop's Pastoral Letter on Stewardship. And so this is required reading. And so this is what I learned from the very beginning. I learned the spirituality of stewardship, and that is something that has guided the work that I've done all along. What I'll be talking about today, though, and I mention this quite often when I work with our parishes and our schools, is this is the ultimate act of Christian stewardship. This means that before or at the end of your life, you are taking an accounting of everything that God has blessed you with and given to you in your life. And for you to actually think about that and to put that down on paper or to write that into a time of death beneficiary and to make sure that you leave something for the church in whatever capacity that may be, your parish, your school, a Catholic charity, a Catholic organization, whatever that may be. But this is the ultimate act of Christian stewardship. And so to me, I think I want to talk a lot about practical things today. So hopefully you'll learn something today. Maybe you'll take an idea or two back to your own shop. Maybe you'll learn a little bit about that. Maybe you want to implement one of these ideas that I share with you today. But at the end of the day, we are talking about the ultimate act of Christian stewardship, someone taking an assessment of their life and leaving something spiritual, something that's going to leave a legacy for the church. Now, this is a quote that I also say quite a bit. My team probably gets tired of me saying that a little bit, but this is a bit of a hot take. I think that planned giving will save the Catholic Church financially in the next 25 years until we figure out the next generation of Catholic donor. I think the planned giving will save the Catholic Church financially in the next 25 years until we figure out the next generation of Catholic donor. We have a huge opportunity ahead of us when it comes to planned giving. And for many of us in the room, there's really no one better than Dr. Russell James. Who's familiar with Russell James? Pretty much most of you in the room, right? His only downfall is that he is at Texas Tech University in Lubbock. Sorry, is there anybody from? I'm sorry. SEC, Big 12, Southwest Conference roots run deep in my life. But if you've ever had a chance to hear any of his conversations, any of his talks, they're extraordinary, they're wonderful in so many ways. But go to LinkedIn, and he has everything that he'll ever talk about. It's available on LinkedIn. It's for free. All of his research is there. Go there and go check it out. So let's get started here. The very beginning. Who's heard of the great wealth transfer, right? We hear about it all the time. We talk about it. I think this number it grows every year. I think they're making up numbers at this point. But the latest number that's cited by Dr. Russell James is that 84 trillion is projected to pass from one generation to the next in the United States by the year 2045. So that's the latest number. And he emphasizes this is just this gargantuan opportunity for philanthropy, especially for people that focus on gifts of appreciated assets rather than just cash. We've already talked about that a couple of times today already. You're probably going to hear a running theme about this. Major gifts, planned gifts, appreciated assets rather than cash. Now, here's some other things I think you might want to think about as you start looking at your own work in philanthropy, your own work in specifically the area of planned giving. The total amount's 84.4 trillion. There are about 72 trillion going directly back to heirs, and significant portion going to taxes and charity. Only about 18 trillion is projected to go actually to charity over the next 24 years. So 84 trillion versus 18 trillion, but still don't get lost in the numbers. That's still a lot of money that it will be transferring between generations of people. The source of the wealth, it comes from about 100 trillion from baby boomers. My mom and her area, her cohort, in older generations are about 81% of the transfers. Dr. James talks a lot about this in his research. He says this, that including a charity in your estate plan increases their annual giving by 77%. So getting someone to commit to a planned gift of any form, whether that's life insurance or a gift of will or estate or even an IRA gift or a time of death beneficiary designation, actually increases the annual giving. Non-cash assets, we're going to talk a lot about that today. Transformational gifts are made in non-cash assets, so appreciated stock, real estate. How many real estate gifts are coming in? Let me real quick, dioceses in the room, just for my own benefit. A few dioceses, okay? Parishes, Catholic organizations, mostly Catholic organizations, campus ministry included in that. Okay, all right. Timing, the peak of this transition is called the peak 65, and that's 4.2 million Americans are turning 65 this year. And 65 has kind of long been known as that retirement year, but it's now kind of moving up. We know some of them are moving into 67 or maybe even delaying that to 70. But nevertheless, peak 65 is a big number, and 4.2 million Americans are doing that. So for those of us who are attending this conference and those of us who work in the field of Catholic philanthropy, so why does this matter? Why should we focus on the end? Why should we think about what that means? Well, I would say that Catholic organizations, we're stewards of mission and legacy. And we're unlike any other organization that I know, that when we have conversations with the people that we work with, we pray with them, we listen to them, we cry with them, we attend Mass with them, we send our kids to Catholic schools together, we send our kids off to universities, and we hope that there's a place for them to be received in the campus ministry program. So we're stewards of that mission and legacy better than anyone else that I ever know of. And I also know that there's unlikely any other organization who has access to their donor base in person on a weekly basis, maybe even on a daily basis. We also know that donors give from the heart, and this is a lot of research that Russell James speaks about. Donors give from the heart. So our task is to connect that mission with that donor's heart. That is our task. Whether that is through a direct mail piece and an annual appeal, whether that's talking about an end-of-life gift that they might be considering, but our task is connect their heart to the mission. And in the area of planned giving, we do this really well through storytelling. Giving ideas, giving thoughts, giving stories about donors, about their life, about who they are, about their faith. So again, Russell James talks about this, that facts inform and that stories inspire. So we usually put a lot of facts in our annual appeal. We put that into the brochure. We put a lot of facts into a capital campaign brochure, but stories inspire, stories of other people. And if you go back to the Bishop's Pastoral Letter, written way back in 1992, one of the 7 hallmarks, or one of the 7 identifying steps of a Catholic stewardship parish, is those who do lay witnessing, those who tell their stories, those who talk about their own faith life. They talk about how they have been transformed by their Catholic faith. So stories inspire. Stories trigger empathy and generosity. He also has a ton of research on brain research, and he actually tests the way people feel when they make gifts. It's fascinating stuff. He's got a whole book. It's about that thick. It's really good stuff. Stories trigger empathy and generosity. And then donors give when it aligns with their identity. And I know of so many stories of working with parishes and schools over the years of always trying to find that one donor who may be the mega donor, the wealthy donor. They have the most tremendous capacity in the world. And so we need that person to be a donor to us. And one of the questions that I always kind of follow up is, are they Catholic? When was the last time they went to Mass at your parish? Well, they own a ranch out here in Central Texas. I know they live out here. And so, no, they don't. They haven't identified with our mission just yet. It doesn't align with who their identity is. Just a quick slide here. It activates the brain's empathy centers. It creates emotional connection. It increases recall and engagement. So this is some of the work that he has in his brain research. We also know that people give to express who they are, right? They give to express their Catholic identity, their Catholic faith. Bequest donors see gifts as part of their life story. So again, going back to that ultimate act of Christian stewardship. Endowments link their values to the church's future. Okay? How often do you read an obituary? It's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer this. But how often do you read an obituary and you read that Jim was a fourth-degree Knight of Columbus, was a founding member of the Catholic parish, was a Eucharistic minister, listed a whole bunch of things about his Catholic faith, his Catholic life. And at the very end, it says, in lieu of flowers, please leave gifts to Austin Hospice. Now, hospice is a fine organization. I know they do incredible work. Most of you would probably agree with that. But something was missing in that obituary, because at the end of their life, when they had the opportunity to make a decision, or even before that time, an opportunity to make a decision about leaving a legacy gift for the church, for something that had informed everything about their life, their very being, and they didn't choose to do that. So these endowments link their values to the church's future. So we need to have those conversations with people. We'll talk about that a little bit further. So what is the Catholic opportunity here? Is that generally our faith shapes our identity. It shapes who we are. And that generally donors, where they are on their spiritual journey, they are generally seeking an eternal impact. They're seeking for something that is going to change the future of the church, or make sure that the church continues to be there and to be present. And I can't tell you how many times, how often I have had conversations with donors. I tell this story quite often, is that when I talk to donors, I don't talk to them about the traditional Latin Mass and Novus Ordo. I don't talk about Pope Francis versus Pope Benedict. I don't talk about all the issues in the church today. You know what the number one thing I talk to them about? Their children and grandchildren are not going to church. Their grandchildren aren't baptized. That's what they're thinking about. They're thinking about their legacy, their future. They're thinking about their family. And frankly, they're worried about whatever method it takes to get them to be back in church, back in the pews, receiving the sacraments, baptizing their grandchildren. That's what they're thinking about. So it is about who they are. They're seeking this eternal impact, not only for themselves, but for their family. So our stories must always reflect God's ongoing work. So I'm getting ready to talk about a bunch of practical tips here for the next probably half hour. And it's great, and you're going to enjoy those. You're going to take a lot of ideas back home to your shops. But we have to make sure that within each of those stories, with each marketing tool, with anything that we do, that we are trying our best to tell God's story. We're trying to tell their story and where it fits into God's story. So we must always reflect God's ongoing work. This is something that I remember during COVID times. Our friend Nick Pringer, I think, who was speaking on Tuesday or Wednesday, Peter? Tuesday? He always talked about this. Russell James now speaks about this a lot, which is some of the elements of an inspiring Catholic story. And the one thing that I would like to point on is to think about the donor as a protagonist. Think about making the donor feel like the most important thing ever to you, to the church, to the bishop, to the pastor, to your campus minister, whatever that may be. The donor as the protagonist. Now, Lisa's here, others in the room that started this tradition back during the COVID times where I began writing, Conde, I think you did this as well here in Phoenix, began writing weekly emails to people. And even 5 years later, 6 years later, I'm still writing those emails to our donors. And almost every week, I am telling them how important they are, how great they are. We couldn't do this mission without your prayers. We couldn't do this mission without God and without you. They are the protagonist in the story. And so week after week, we are reminding them about how important that they are. So that's the element of telling a good Catholic story. Telling Catholic stories in the area of plan giving is critical. Russell James speaks about it. We know it's a proven research-based fact that these are good for people to know that they can make a gift to, just like this, at the end of their life and carry on the future and create their own legacy. So donor is protagonist. Okay, so back in September of last fall, a couple of Catholic schools played each other. Not many people are going to get this joke. So Texas A&M is a Catholic school, right? Right. There's more Catholics on campus at Texas A&M than there are at Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame. Trust me, I do. I think it's a great school. But on the gridiron, it's very important. So I don't know, we beat that other Catholic school from South Bend in September. So it's always fun. There was no holding call for any Notre Dame fans in the room, so just so you know. But why do I show you this photo, and why do I tell you this story? So Peter talked about this, and I wanted to lead with this in a sense that I think this is a way to kind of show how plan giving, marketing, and telling a story can go really well, and when it's done really well, how effective it actually can be. Now, something about Texas A&M is that we don't have cheerleaders. We have a tradition of yell leaders that's over 100 years old. There's only 5 yell leaders. They are elected by the student body every year, 3 seniors and 2 juniors. You can serve the 2 terms, but you have to get reelected from junior year to senior year. So yes, in a dose of humility, it is kind of a big deal at Texas A&M. Peter talked about it. It's an important part of Texas A&M's history. It's who they are. It makes it completely unique and different than almost any other university in America. So I was a yell leader when I was there at Texas A&M, and one of the things that I wanted to do with my family is I wanted to make sure that the tradition and legacy of the yell leader tradition was maintained, and that we kept it, that it was going to be around there forever, and that wasn't going to be where we started having other people come into this and we're going to have cheerleaders and everything. I love cheerleaders. I have 2 cheerleaders. So, but yell leaders make it unique and different at Texas A&M. So my wife and I decided to leave a legacy gift to the Texas A&M Foundation to benefit the Yell Leader Endowment. We did it years ago, and we redid our will and estate plan last year. Just life changes, and we wanted to make a difference there. And we notified them again that we had put this into our estate plan. We got a call back later, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to profile you." Now, mind you, if you're profiled at Texas A&M, you are definitely 122 years old. You have more money than you can shake a stick at, and it's hard to get profiled in anything that they do. So we were kind of shocked by the fact that they wanted us to be profiled. So they called us one day. We went over to campus. They had a photographer there. They actually had the yell leaders. The current yell leaders were part of an association, so we know them, but we didn't know they were going to show up that day. They showed up that day. They surprised us. We took photos with them on campus in front of Kyle Field. So one, that made us feel really special that day. So that was one of the most important parts about this, is that we felt special and recognized that day. Even if we weren't leaving any cash gift right now, we're going to leave something in our estate plan, hopefully many years from now. Okay? But here's where the story really kind of starts to take off, where we learned what they do and how they market this. So this slide here shows you a little bit about the Heritage magazine is the plan giving magazine for Texas A&M. They produce this on a quarterly basis. They profile stories. They profile gifts of plan gifts throughout. They have a LinkedIn page, they had a Facebook page, they have a website section. And over a period of weeks, they were just dropping these various stories in all their different outlets over a period of time. And it was really well done. And so I started taking notes on this because I like to do everything that Texas A&M does because they do really, really well. They do planned giving really well. And so I started taking notes and using some of these ideas within my own marketing strategies and how to promote and share ideas and gifts. Now, here's where the fun kind of takes off is that one of the reasons why they wanted us is because we were beginning to enter into an age demographic that they were really beginning to target. And that was the 50-year-old, okay? And all of this, the social media work, so we were the highest performing social media posts that they had of any of their stories over the last 5 years. One, it was the tradition that made it very important. Number two, we were a younger couple who were pretty engaged while we were on campus at A&M, and we were pretty engaged post-graduation. So we know a lot of friends, we have a big network of people. And so that really allowed them to make a big splash with planned giving from a young person who may or may not have a lot of extra cash laying around right now in their life. It's a great story. It's a great way to look at how you market and promote planned giving, and I think it's a great way to kind of talk about that. Here's another thing that A&M does is standing at football games is very important, so they use things like this to create their planned giving ads. All right. I'm going to switch a little bit into some marketing 101, and we're going to talk a little bit about kind of a bunch of ideas that we do in the Diocese of Austin and how you might maybe use some of these yourself. All right, marketing 101. 3 things that we do in the Diocese of Austin is that we have created a marketing calendar that we have a plan. Okay, we happen to use Airtable. So Airtable for us is we put in every single touch point that we have with any of our donors. Now, in the Diocese of Austin, I have the ability and the blessing to oversee our Catholic Foundation as well as Diocese of Austin, all fundraising strategies. So I oversee all fundraising strategies throughout the Diocese of Austin. We use a marketing calendar. We use Airtable. We track every direct mail piece, every social media post, everything that goes out of our office, we put it there, and we know that if there's a day on this calendar, and I'll show you that calendar in a second, or a week that has some missing points in there, we probably need to ramp up our marketing and we need to put some more information out there. The second thing that we do is that we are very consistent with our marketing. Ton of repetition. We have daily and weekly social media posts. What we do on our social media is we do actually 3 of them a week. We do one where we highlight one of our endowments. We do one where we highlight basically a saint or something with a strong Catholic identity that goes into that. And then the third one is we highlight some tool for how to make a planned gift. Could be an endowment, an IRA, a life insurance policy, something along those lines. But we do that consistently 3 times every single week. And we actually use our foundation to promote that, and we use the Diocese of Austin to promote that. I'll talk about that and how we use some of our other departments here in a minute. When I started in 23 years ago, I was by myself with a half-time secretary. That's all we had. That's where we started. And we began to build our program, began to build our annual appeal, and grow our Diocese of Austin, our stewardship and development areas over that period of time. We now have 11 people on our team, so we've grown that over 23 years from 1.5 to 11. But throughout those moments before we really got to the 11, and I still think we're short probably 3 or 4 people, certainly in Austin, is to choose a good marketing partner, someone that can help you do the work, an extension of who you are. So we've used Stelter, Free Will, and Market Smart in our work, specifically in the area of planned giving. I'll talk a bit more about them here in a minute. This is just a screenshot of our Airtable calendar. So you'll see there's lots of boxes on there, and that's some touch point in some area that we have connected with someone, whether again, direct mail, email, a social media post, something like that. Russell James, Stelter, everyone will speak a lot about this, is that really focus on planned giving. that offer the most potential. Okay. So CGAs, beneficiary designations, IRA QCDs. Who offers IRA QCDs right now? Who offers them? Okay. One piece of advice right here, I'll tell you. When you go back to your office next week, go to your database, run a report of anyone who's over the age of 70. Send them an email or send them a letter. Tell them about how to make an IRA, a QCD gift. Okay. Most of our gifts that are coming in that I know from those people who are making those gifts now, like, I don't need this $5,000. It's been sitting in my IRA and I don't need it, and I can give it away and I can avoid some taxes, and it's great. And it's super simple and it's super easy to do. So if you're not doing that now, so again, focus on those that offer the most potential. What did I say earlier in the first couple of slides? Peak 65, right? So maybe even draw that down to the 65-year-old level. Start educating, informing them now to start thinking about how to make an IRA gift through a QCD. DAFs, very important now. I'm on the marriage prep team of our parish. I teach the stewardship and finance talk about 2 or 3 times a year, depending on how many couples we have signed up. And I don't know if this is a new trend, but I don't know how many 25-year-olds have DAFs now, but I feel like they all do. And that was something that was not talked about 10 years ago. And so we talk about stewardship and philanthropy and charity and giving away, supporting the parish. And these 25-year-old couples, they all, oh yeah, we have our DAF. We give money out of our DAF. And I'm like, who has a DAF at 25? I was just trying to pay my bills at 25. But it's a really interesting trend. And I find that to be something that you could probably work on. Obviously, DAF's hot topic. Lots of this going on now. Appreciated stock. Obviously, when the market's up, it's really good. When the market's down, it's really bad. But keep talking about stock, keep talking about mutual funds. They're easy to do. Find a good partner to work with you on that. And then, of course, gifts and wills. So very important that you make sure that you are helping people to understand gifts and wills. Jamie. Oh, sure. Yeah, so CGAs, charitable gift annuities. Those are gifts that pay you income in your lifetime, right? So someone signs up, they give you a gift, you pay them. It's a contract, you pay them an amount based on their age over a period of time. When they pass away, the remainder stays with you at the charity. Beneficiary designations, probably something that's not talked about very much in the world of plan giving, but it's probably the most important reminder to people is that your time of death beneficiaries, so life insurance, 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, things that reside outside of your estate, outside of your will, you have to put a beneficiary designation there. And a lot of folks don't think about that. They don't know. They're not reminded about that. It's a very big point to educate your donors. IRAs, QCDs is a qualified charitable distribution, so they can take their required minimum distribution that they are required to take when they reach. Is 72.5 now, Jamie, right? I think that's the case. The rules have changed a little bit on that. I think you can think about it at 70, you're required to at 72. But nevertheless, they are required to take that distribution and it is taxable. They give it away to any qualified charity. They can reduce that on an above the line tax deduction. DAF's donor advised funds. Those gifts that are made, you can make those now over a period of time. It's put into a fund. It may grow over time. You can make any amount, but your tax deduction is available at the beginning of that gift, not when you actually make the charitable gift at some point in time. Appreciated stock, obviously, I think you know that, stock and mutual funds, and then gifts and wills. So anything in your will, right? Again, rhetorical question. We know that half of Americans don't have a will, right? So this is probably the number one thing that we can help to get people to think about is regardless of charitable intent in their will, do they have a will? Do they have things that they need to protect themselves and to protect their family? That's the ultimate act of Christian stewardship. What are we doing to protect our family? Okay, multi-channel marketing. For us, we spend a lot of time on this. Again, social media, email, website, targeted direct mail to various segments. I talked about that. Anybody over the age of 65 or 70, target them in making gifts from their IRAs. We'll talk a little bit about those. Another fun quote, we know that communication is a problem, but the company is not going to discuss it with the employees. maybe this is a point at some dioceses around the country. Not in Austin, I can assure you. No, that's not true. It's in every diocese, I think. But the point there is that we know the communication is a problem. We're not going to tell anybody about it. Well, it's a problem. We have to tell people about it. We have to promote and share gifts of planned giving. So integrated marketing opportunities. I'm a big fan of, if you are sending out a direct mail piece to your bishop's annual appeal, you're going to send it to 100,000 households. Put a buck slip in there. Buck slip's a little piece of paper that goes in, it floats, not going to cost you anything more, but put it in there because you're going to give people 100,000 families, 100,000 households to think about something else besides the annual appeal. That's okay. You can ask for more than one thing at the same time. So use buck slips. We have a quarterly planned giving newsletter. We have our Catholic Spirit magazine. We have gone from a newspaper to a magazine over the last couple of years. It's called the Catholic Spirit, videos and social media. I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those. So this is what we do in Austin. So we do buck slips in our CSA. That is our Bishop's Annual Appeal, the Catholic Services Appeal. It goes in our thank you letters. It goes into our statements. We do a National Make-A-Will Month that goes in the July. Catholic Schools buck slip that goes in September. November, we do an IRA buck slip. In March, we've done an IRA buck slip. So every time those statements go out on a quarterly basis, we're putting something about gifts of non-cash assets. Follow up, you see that year-end tax statements, we're able to send those out, and we pop in a buck slip there to remind people to make gifts. It looks something like this. We have several of these. There's ones that there are people that are in churches. We have great diversity that we show in these buck slips, and so there's just multiple ones that we use here, but this is another way. Easy, we're using all the things like QR code. Go to our website, call in. Putting your tax ID number on that, very important. Make sure they know what that is. They can make it easy for your donors to make a gift. In our printed publications, you can see some of the materials there. This is Reflections. This is a quarterly newsletter we send out to about 30,000 donors. It's very well received. They still read tons of our donor stories. So again, things like Make-A-Will Month in August. Here we profile a story. This is a young couple who decided to leave a gift in their estate to the diocese to benefit a couple of programs that they were interested in, one being young adult ministry. We're Texas. I'll show you, this is a picture later on, but this is actually one of our priests, Father Steve Sauser. Father Steve has actually personally started 11 endowments at the 3 parishes that he has been assigned in our Catholic Foundation. He has also made his own legacy gift, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, how we help parishes to do this. So these are some of the integrated marketing pieces. Again, going back to the Texas A&M example, you'll see these same stories show up in multiple places over multiple weeks so that people begin to recognize and see the names and the faces and the people that we share. This is our annual report. Again, we profile a couple of donor stories in our annual report every year. Social media, my tip here is to choose one and focus on that one, whether that's Facebook, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's Instagram, whatever it is that you want to choose, but choose one and really focus in on that. I'm a big fan of social media. I'm very active on social media. I love it, but boy, it can be consuming and it can be overwhelming with what you do. You can't not participate. You have to be there, but just choose one and really focus in on that. We do integrated marketing across multiple platforms. So we have a diocese account, a Catholic schools account, we have a vocations account, we have a foundation account. So we use some of these same posts that go across all of those on various weeks. Again, all of those identified in Airtable for us. Boosting posts for greater reach, good reminders on that. A little plug for Catholic social media. It's a great tool that's out there now. Again, Nick Pringer, he may even talk about this tomorrow, one of his companies, but it's a great tool to help prepare posts for you that all you have to do is link your social media account and those automatically upload and flow into each one of those accounts. It's a great tool that's available for you. So if you're short on time, you're short on people, hire somebody else, hire some vendor, hire another company to help you do the work, extend your reach. Greatest gift from God is Canva. It's a great gift to us. So thank you, Lord, for finding someone to create that. We do a lot of different posts. It's not just about how to make a gift. We do things like why priestly vestments, why they really matter. We do lots of different human interest posts, lots of different ways to try to engage people throughout our social media. Cryptocurrency, free will, make a will month, CGAs, again, just a whole number of these. Here's, again, where you'll see this is something that was in the Catholic spirit. It's also over on our Facebook and our LinkedIn pages. This is a story about Father Steve. We talk about not only his own legacy giving, but how he's created multiple endowments in multiple parishes. Again, website, choose a good partner. We use eCatholic for our website. Stelter and MarketSmart are used to create kind of our online plan giving presence. So that allows us to let them do all the work behind the scenes and helping to create those particular web pages as it relates to plan giving. But again, all of these things are extending our reach and extending the work that we do by having more people involved. Best thing that I did 4 years ago was hire a full-time plan giving officer. He has just been an incredible resource for us. He's in the diaconate program right now. He's a very deep spirituality. And I always like to speak about him this way, is that think about someone that would be the best person to sit at the kitchen table with your grandmother and share a cup of coffee and talk about their Catholic faith. That is Dan Wierzbowski on my team. That's the kind of individual that you want speaking to people's life and legacy and commitment to the Catholic Church. It's a beautiful thing, and he does really, really well with that. Again, keeping up to date, telling stories. This is what our page looks like. So if you click on the ways to give, it actually takes you to a page that looks like our website. But we also use this as a way to promote plan gifts. Make it real easy for parishioners to make gifts to you. You can see it right there, gifts of stock. It goes right to a place where they can make a gift of stock. IRA, QCDs, it goes right to the form to fill out to make that. Free will goes right to the opportunity for them to make a will for free for about 20 or 30 minutes. Talk about that. Videos and webinars, we do a ton of those as well. I mean, you see, we're doing a lot of things, and we're promoting a lot of things across the board, multiple ways, multiple weeks, from multiple angles, all talking about gifts of non-cash assets, all talking about leaving a legacy in the church. One of our priests is an ethics priest, and he did one on end-of-life issues for us. It was very well received. So think about using the resources that you have. Super easy. Jump on Microsoft Teams or Zoom or whatever it is that you use. Have them send out an email, remind people to come and listen to this about end-of-life issues. We had several hundred people that actually watched this. We saved them. We put them up on our website so people can watch them later. Free will, I think we were the first, if not one of the first dioceses in the country to use free will. We have other partners out there now. We have My Catholic Will, and we have Catholic Legacy. So there's a couple more that are out there now, but all relatively the same in terms of offering people the opportunity to make a will to reduce the barrier to create a will. And again, we know that half of Americans don't have a will. What the average price that's going to cost you to create a will of any sort is going to be about $1,500 to $2,000 with an attorney. Okay. Now that means you're probably doing something more special or a little bit more unique in your estate plan. For most people, a free will making service is perfectly fine as long as they follow the plan and go through that. So choose one there. It's been very, very good for us. We have tens of millions of dollars that we already know about that is already in the pipeline because someone has indicated that in this product, okay? Now, at the end of the day, they still have to print it out, they still have to go get it signed, and they still have to go get it notarized. So what part of Dan's role is following the dashboard on the back end and making sure when someone fills out that form, but they don't complete it, he's calling them and saying, don't forget to do the last step. So it works really well. There's a great connection point there. Great for us, super easy. When you get to the part about how to make a gift, or if you thought about making a gift, drop down menus, buttons for them to push, make it really simple for them to leave something, 5%, $1,000, whatever it is that they want to choose, but make it really easy for them. And that's part of that process. Legacy giving program, one of the things that I think is very important for us to think about is working with parishes directly, because that is where most people are tied to their Catholic faith or connected to their Catholic faith. So if we can help our parishes create legacy giving programs, this is part of Dan's role and responsibility as well. So again, we hired him 4 years ago. He takes a parish through a full 1-year onboarding process to create a legacy giving program at their parish. And to date, we've had 10 endowments created because of these committees being formed. They have now sought this as an opportunity for them to create a parish endowment. They did not have one before, and people were making cash gifts or stock gifts or other non-cash assets to create these endowments. Nevertheless, it's not about creating endowments. It's really about helping people to create wills and estates. It's about helping them to find something to take care of their family for them. And that's been very successful. About 10 parishes have participated about that. All right, the last couple of slides that I'll focus in on, really kind of a practical matter. And I want to give you a couple of minutes in this part of the presentation too, to kind of think about a couple of things. So one, a word about major gifts. If you've paid attention to philanthropy and giving over the last several years, you've noticed that when I started in my career 25 plus years ago, I don't remember seeking or getting 8-figure gifts on a pretty regular basis. And I think that is for some of the larger organizations, for dioceses, I don't know, Jamie focus maybe, others. I mean, we're getting sometimes pretty regular 7- and 8-figure gifts from people. So that is a significant shift in these transformational gifts. That means we're asking more for them, we're inviting more of them, we're having deeper relationships with people, and it's showing in the gifts that are actually realized with many of these transformational gifts. So a word about major gifts. Again, I'm an OG fundraiser. I started out in the annual appeal world. I'm all about direct mail. I loved it. I think every $1 million gift started with a $25 annual appeal gift. So we've got to start somewhere. We've got to start as a foundational gift. So I'm a big annual appeal person. I love how it starts the train moving down the track. But if we're not talking about major and planned gifts right now, if we aren't hiring up for that, if we aren't putting in the resources, the people, the money for that now in our organizations, I promise you there's another organization that's doing it. You know who it is? Texas A&M is. Notre Dame is. Pains me to say this, the University of Texas is. That's our arch rival. That's like saying Alabama to Auburn fans, Shannon. You know that. I promise you they're asking, and they are promoting, and they are putting it on their websites, and they are emailing, and they are calling, and they're doing a really good job of that. Now, it also means they have about 100 of me on their staff. Some cases, 200 of me on their staff, right? So it's hard to compete with that. But we've got to focus on that. This is a huge opportunity, as Russell James says, or gargantuan opportunity for us to have these deep, rich legacy conversations with our donors. And it's not about the $1 million gift or the $8 million gift, although those will come. It's about a couple of $1,000 or someone who leaves 1% of their estate, or someone who might consider the church as their 7th child in their estate. It's about having those kinds of conversations about leaving a legacy. So here's some things that I would challenge you when you leave here today, when you go back next week, is to create a working list of your top 100 donors. You can answer the question if you want. If you have a list of your top 100 donors, maybe you're a smaller organization, maybe your top 25 or your top 50 donors. Who has that list right now that you can access it right now? Make a phone call or email one of them right now, right? So for those of you who don't, it's a big task for you. Get that list, know who they are, stay in touch with them, call them, visit them, email them. Make assignments to your team. So this has been the next evolution. So just last year, I hired a major gifts officer, added our 11th member of our team. And he is primarily responsible for building out our major gifts program, okay? So he is working specifically to build out this list. We already have a top 100 list. We're working with MarketSmart, a couple other vendors, and we're building out that list of 200, 300, or 400 names. And all of us will have assigned prospects that we are responsible for and that we'll meet weekly, or we will meet weekly as a team to talk about them. Again, not all of you can do that. If you're a one-person shop, it's going to be kind of hard. So start with 10 donors. If you're a multi-person shop, start with 200 or 300 donors, because you probably have the staff to do that. Whatever it is that you are, however you are set up, the encouragement is to have conversations about major gifts and about planned gifts. Things that I like to say, I want to get the $1 million gift outside of the capital campaign that we do. We've gotten a lot of those gifts over the years in 3 diocesan campaigns that we've run. But are we getting $1 million gifts regularly or 6-figure gifts regularly outside of those opportunities to give? So make assignments to your team. Make visits. Activity. I'm not judging my new major gift officer and how many visits he does. I'm talking about his activity, how much money he raises. I'm talking about how many visits he does. Okay, so it's all about activity. If we aren't out there, we aren't having fun, we aren't having conversations with people, we're not having conversation. We're not inviting them into leaving a legacy into the church. Listen to people. You know, this, I tell my kids this all the time. Andrew was talking about his kids. They have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? We know this. God gave you that. So listen more before you talk. Listen to what people tell you. They will tell you a lot about their life if you stop and listen and you let them do it. They want to tell you about their Catholic faith. They want to tell you about how important it is in their life. So we've developed what we call white papers or tear sheets. They're 1-pagers about, we have every department in the Diocese of Austin has a 1-page mini case statement about what it is that is important to them, what they're trying to seek funding for, what programs they're beginning to launch, and we use those as launching points for conversations with some of our donors. Lastly is be an OG fundraiser. Go out and talk to people. Pick up the phone. I heard this recently that one of the number 1 issues in fundraising today is that we're not calling people and talking to people. We'd rather text them or email them, make it something kind of easy to do, maybe a robocall. Go old school. Pick up the phone, call someone, go grab a cup of coffee, talk about their faith, listen to them. And again, small organizations, that may be only 5 or 6 people that you can do that with, but make sure you're doing it. For larger organizations, you might be able to do that, 50, 75, 100 plus people. Let's see, I talked a little bit about that. So again, we've used a couple of other vendors to help us prospect to identify, again, those 200 to 300 people. An idea for me is to hire regional gift officers with portfolios. So our diocese is about 25,000 square miles. I'd love to have a regional officer in each one of those main areas in our diocese, working with our pastors and working with donors. So that's a dream. I'm continuing to dream, and hopefully we'll go that out. Okay, I want to close with this. Hope this has been helpful. Hope you've learned a few things. Hope you've got a couple of new ideas in the area of planned giving, thinking about marketing and promoting with the end in mind. Next steps for you, I think you might want to go back and consider creating a marketing plan. It doesn't have to be on our table, but it could be just on a single piece of paper. We're going to write down in January, we're going to talk about setting goals for the year. February, we're going to talk about Lenten goals for the year. August, we're going to talk about National Make-A-Will Month. October, we're going to talk about Estate Planning Awareness Week. Make things simple and easy for you to follow. Know that you're going to be talking about those things each and every month. Build a relationship with your communications team. If you're a larger organization, I hear this quite often, dioceses don't get along with their communications team sometimes. Build a good relationship with them because they're going to be very helpful. Getting things in the newspaper, the magazine, on the social media, working hand in hand with them is very, very important. So building that relationship, I think, is very important. Choose one social media platform and run with that. Hire partners to do that. Call a donor and prospect tomorrow. So here's one to pause. I have like 1 minute left, 2 minutes left. Right now, write down the name of one person that you're going to call next week, and you're going to tell them, thank you for making a gift to your organization. Can I come talk to you about the future? Write the name of that person down right now, please. All right, the last one is to start small and stick with it. So it's all about activity. Don't think about doing all of these things all at once. Find one thing, stick with it, start small. It's all about activity. Thanks for having me, Peter. Thank you. My slides are available. If you want to talk to me, give me a card or something, I can maybe find a way to get those to you. But otherwise, I think they're going to be on the YouTube channel a little bit later on. So thank you. Come visit us in Austin, Texas sometime. It's a great city.